Well, welcome to another podcast or fireside chat as I refer to it. I'm Tom from the PAVL Elite Real Estate Group. And today my special guest is Kristi Hyson from
Axiom Mortgage Solutions.
Yeah. So today I thought it'd be great to get to know really what a mortgage broker does and how you present your line of work and business to, I guess, really our clients and other clients that are out there. In this wonderful times that we have. And I think probably my first question would be, like, so you're a mortgage broker, and then we also have, I guess, banks. So ultimately, what is sort of like the difference between a mortgage broker and somebody wanting to go to a bank?
So a mortgage broker has access to more products and lenders than your bank. So the banks are great. I work with a lot of charter banks. They're a great business partner, but they have one product, their product.
Okay.
So if you don't fit their product, then you're left finding solutions, and then you may get discouraged and not know that a mortgage broker can help you. So as a mortgage broker, I have access to over 30 lenders, different products. So the lenders I work with subscribe to different products with mortgage insurers that allow us to get mortgages approved, as opposed to going to your bank, which is a great, again, they're a fantastic business partner of mine. But they have one product. So if it doesn't fit their product, they can't approve your mortgage. So now you're left trying to find and scramble to find a solution to complete your purchase. Whereas with a mortgage broker, if I submit it to a lender and let's say it just happens to not be a fit for their product, I can move on and go to another lender.
Right. Okay. So it's almost like grocery shopping, right?
Yeah.
You have a choice between going to the cheese specialty place and you pick out your brie, and I hope you like it, or you can go to the boutique and choose whatever you like that seems to work to your flavor and taste and needs.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And one of the
I
big
could see
differences is there's an insured product called stated income. It's too much to cover in this call, but the charter banks no longer offer this product. So if you don't have a good 2-year average, and we have to look at company financials to see how we can qualify you, they don't offer the product. So they're going to say you don't qualify. Whereas I work with lenders who do subscribe to the stated income products with Genworth and Canada Guarantee, as well as CMHC, and we can get the mortgage done.
Right. So my understanding then would be a bank is like your, as we refer to it, as your A lender sort of group, right?
Well, they are, but there's also monoline lenders, which also fit into the A lender category. So charter banks are deposit-taking institutions, so they deal in post-it rates, and they deal in mortgages, credit cards, investments, so on and so forth. Right. The other type of lender that fits under the A category is what's called a monoline lender, and they're a non-deposit-taking institution, and they only deal with broker-originated and submitted business.
Okay.
Their rates are lower. So it's just a different type of institution, but
Right.
they provide mortgages.
But when we sort of look at a bank sort of offering, they don't offer like a B lender and a C lender package, right? It's their package, right? Whereby in your portfolio, a basket of goodies, you have the A's, you have the B's, you have the privates.
I have access.
You have the whole smorgasbord, sort of speaking.
I have the whole suite of products and lenders
Okay.
available to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like, I won't say the one-stop shop, but basically.
Essentially, it is a one-stop shop, because if something doesn't work at one lender, because again, there could be something on the file that just doesn't meet their guidelines,
Right.
And they won't know it until they underwrite it, and that's fine. You thank them for taking the time to look at the file, and you move on and you go to another lender.
Right.
So it's very seamless. Instead of saying, sorry, we're not able to help you, you don't meet our guidelines, and now you're left scrambling.
Right.
So your plan B is now finding someone who can help you.
You know, I have to say that one of the things that I've really seen that you do differently is how you even help my daughter buy a home, right? I mean, you look at it from not just a numbers and asset type of thing, but you also looked at their lifestyle and what they needed to spend to keep up with what they wanted, right?
Well, it's called living your payment.
Ah, okay.
So
I knew you had a tagline for it.
So with mortgage qualifications, what the lenders and what the insurers look for is it's based off of your gross income, and it's only based off of your credit bureau debts, or if you have child support, alimony payments, etc. But there's more to life. So if you have, let's say you make RSP contributions every month, you've got car insurance, you have cell phone, you have cable, maybe you have daycare. Those factors are not taken into consideration when you're qualifying for a mortgage, but they're very real life once you take possession of the home. Absolutely. And they now have to be incorporated in. So when I'm working with clients, I like to do living the payment, so we can look at what are your other monthly obligations. So how much do you spend on groceries? Do you invest in RSPs, tax-free savings? Yeah. Do you have daycare?
Do you have a small dog or a big dog?
Right.
Do you buy small dog food or large dog food?
Right. So there's more to kind of look at than just qualifying for a mortgage, is that you want to be able to ease into home ownership to where it's not so much as a payment shock and it fits with your current lifestyle. There's going to be a little bit of a difference because buying a home comes with more responsibilities than with renting. You have maintenance, upkeep, so on and so forth, but you want that payment to fit with your lifestyle so that you can continue with everything else that you're doing. Right. So sometimes it's the difference when we live a payment of the client might be looking for a $500,000 to $600,000 home, but once we live the payment, maybe they're down to $4,500 being their cap, right? They want to make sure that payment fits. Yeah, make sure the payment fits. And that's how you
worked it with my daughter, because it was basically, I'm going, I don't want to be here to help you out when you're not making, your payments doing things, and you're coming to me for another can of beans. Right. That was a no-no, right? So I think that's key, because I think, I guess a lot of it people just look at it as it's a numbers game, and to me it's more than a numbers game. It becomes it can wreck your lifestyle. Well, it can wreck your life if you don't look at it from a realistic point of view.
Rents are fairly reasonable right now, so if you're accustomed to paying $1,200 to $1,400 a month in rent, and maybe all of your utilities are included, so the only thing that you're paying maybe is possibly power, but that might be included too, depending on where you rent, and then you have your cable, internet, and so on and so forth. You now go into a home with a mortgage payment that is between $1,500 to $1,800 a month. Right there is a payment shock. Now on top of that, you have utilities, you have everything that wasn't included with your rent. So now your cost of living, by the time you add in property taxes and all your utilities, you're $2,200, $2,300, maybe up to $2,500 a month. That's payment shock. Your cost of living now went up $1,000 a month. You have to find that $1,000. So that $1,000 means you're not making RSP contributions anymore. You're not investing in your tax-free savings. Daycare still exists. It didn't go away, but now you're coming up with... So, looking at the payment, what kind of a shelter shock that's going to be is something to consider when especially for first-time home buyers.
Right, definitely.
Tenured home buyers, not so much. They've lived through the experience. They know what it's like, so when they're looking at moving up, they're okay with the payment because they know what the cost of living looked like in their first home.
Absolutely.
Right? First-time home buyers, we need to look at the numbers. And is this comfortable? Does this payment make sense to you? Like, are you going to be okay with all the added expenditures with home ownership? And sometimes, when clients look at the numbers, that $500,000 home now could be a $350,000 home, or it's a townhome instead of going right into a single-family home.
Right.
It can be an eye-opener to say, oh, that's real. That's going to happen. That is going to happen. Those payments come, and it's part of home ownership.
Yeah, no, definitely. So when you go first meet a client or a potential client, how do you work it? What is sort of I won't call it the experience, but what are all the things that you need from a client in brief to make a successful journey, I guess, or what are some of the things that you sort of discuss and
well, every client meeting is different, so it kind of depends on the interaction. Yeah. But it's just the first of it is always the discovery phase. What are you looking to do, right? What kind of property are you looking for? I need to know details about income, what kind of down payment you have. before looking at the credit report. I always like to run rough numbers. I still need to look at the application and the credit report, but I want to make sure that the numbers are going to work before we kind of proceed to that level. A lot of the time spent with my clients is educating them, especially on new home buyers, just about the mortgage process. What does everything look like? Why is the lender asking for all of this documentation? Why do we need so much history on the savings accounts for down payment? There's a lot of regulations in Canada when it comes around verifying sources of money for down payment, and so there's a lot of paperwork. So depending on the complexity of the situation, there could be a lot of paperwork that the lender is going to want. If there's multiple deposits in accounts, if you have 3 or 4 bank accounts and you're transferring funds all over the place, they have to map out the down payment. So we have to follow the money trail. So there's history then for more accounts. So there can be a lot of documentation. So I do my best to guide my clients through it, just so that I can explain to them why I have to ask for additional documentation, why is the lender wanting this. So everything comes down to making sure that they're comfortable. It's risk mitigation. So essentially an underwriter is a gatekeeper for that lender. Right? They want to help you, but you have to make sure that you meet their guidelines and that they're satisfied with the documentation that's submitted.
Right.
Yeah.
And in essence, you're almost interpreting the funds, the ability from a client to what the mortgage people say, because they probably talk a different language and have a different understanding than I myself or anybody that's buying.
Well, yeah. So my conversation with an underwriter is entirely different, because I can speak lingo with them, and we speak the same terminology, but that's not the terminology or the same kind of conversation I would have with a client. Different relationship. They're underwriting. I'm trying to help my client get a mortgage and work with the underwriter, but I wouldn't use the same lingo with the client because it's bank talk. Does that
absolutely. And I think one of the key things that you mentioned there is educating and really helping out through the whole process. Mm-hmm. And again, I keep going back to, it's not as simple as just, here's a bunch of money and I get to go buy something. It's far more in depth than that. It's really quite a complicated process that I think you've made it pretty simple.
I try to. I do.
I appreciate that from being a parent, going to my daughter and going like, well, this is pretty simple. I wish somebody would have helped me out with that whole process when I first did it. So kudos to you and your ability to hold hands or educate, as you refer to it as.
Well, I do. I enjoy that part. I have a wealth of knowledge, and I feel homeowners should be educated. It's one of the biggest purchases you're ever going to make in your life. Why not be educated going into that home?
Oh, definitely.
And knowing all the ins and the outs, instead of I work with clients who purchased their first home and now they're coming to me to purchase their second home, and they're amazed by an initial conversation with me that they've learned more in that conversation, even though they're going to be second homeowners, than they did the first time around. So I really wish that as a professional, I feel it should be an industry standard that all first-time homeowners should have a level of education as part of the process.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
I can relate to that, is how many people that I see that are buying a brand new product, right? And the buzzword out there, it's maintenance free. And I get to see them 5 years afterwards and they haven't cleaned out their furnace filter because they thought it was maintenance free. And I'm going, well, that was a real lack of education from the builder to the client going, you need to take care of your home, right?
Yeah.
And so, it's education. And
I can't cover those components.
No, but I can relate to that, because I see so much of it where people do walk into a situation and they're not educated or had the opportunity to gain the knowledge that they need to make a really good decision.
True enough.
And when you offer different packages, they now have an opportunity to say, this package is better for me than this one because of this, this, and this, which is great. Something that we do when we're selling a home or whatever, or helping a person buy a home, it's like, here's all the pros and cons. Which one fits better your lifestyle? How does it fit in? Right? It's all part of that education process, right?
Well, it's no different. There's different types of mortgage products in the market. Each comes with a different rate. So it's knowing about the product and is that the right product for you. So it's being educated about why would you want to choose this product over this one? What makes sense and what fits the best. Rate is important, I'm not going to dispute that, but sometimes rate is not the biggest factor in a mortgage. Something that's flexible, full-featured, might actually fit, whereas something that doesn't have as many features might not be the best solution starting out.
Right, because again, it goes back to lifestyle and what your plans are.
So it comes
for
down
5 years, a year, 20 years, it's all going to make a difference
Yeah,
as
so
to that
it's-
longer range plan.
It's education right from the start, and just having that conversation with a client. These are your options. Does this fit? At the end of the day, they're the drivers. They choose. I don't choose the product. I present solutions and options. But at the end of the day, it is the client's mortgage.
Yeah.
So they're the ultimate decision makers. But I try to explain so that they can make an educated decision and go with the product that best suits them.
Now, you haven't said it, but I know from your past history, one of the advantages you have in talking the lingo to an underwriter is you used to be an underwriter.
I did underwrote for many years. So
Yeah, so
gives me a different perspective on looking at a file, so I know what an underwriter is looking for.
absolutely.
I'm still going to do my job because my job is to place that mortgage with a lender, but I know how to negotiate with them. I know what they're
Absolutely.
looking for. So sometimes it comes down to, okay, this is what you're asking for, this is what we can do. How do we meet in the middle and make this happen?
Yeah.
So if you don't know how to negotiate with the underwriter, they're not going to tell you how to negotiate. So an underwriter's not going to do a mortgage broker's job. You have to know how to package your file.
Oh, no,
And you need to
definitely.
know how to negotiate your business. And if the underwriter knows that, and if you have a good working relationship with them, they're going to come to you and say, okay, this is what we need. Okay, here's what we have. Let's see if we can find a way to make this fit. And I actually enjoy that part of my job.
Yeah, I think it's just, I kind of look at it going like it's a secret little weapon. It's like a second language or third language that you know. It's the underwriter language,
Well,
and you understand the
I
client
know.
language, and you understand the mortgage broker language, so it's cool.
It's a strength to know credit. I know credit very well, so I know little tips and tricks if we have to increase credit score in a quick manner. What we need to do to kind of position an application. So by having that knowledge, it definitely sets me apart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's part of that knowledge package. It's no different than, I think, part of the Ross Powell group. I mean, we've got everything from builders to architects to sales gurus that all work together and combine that great knowledge package. So,
And that all helps the clients because
Absolutely.
you have access to that information, no different than being a mortgage broker with Axiom Mortgage Solutions. We have a lot of senior mortgage brokers, and sometimes there's anomalies that come up that you might never experience. But I have a group that I can reach out to and say, hey, I've never in 18 years come across this. Anyone have experience with this? And generally, it's very rare. And if not, then we just reach out outside of our network. But it's nice knowing that you have a resource to go to for something that's just
so
not
in
every
your
day.
resource package, I just got to ask: does anybody there knew of COVID before COVID hit?
Did we know it?
Yeah.
No?
Oh,
That was-
okay.
that was-
So we're all the same on that path.
yeah, no one held the crystal ball to
nobody-
that. If they did, they withheld that information.
So it's great. So we're all on the same page and come from the same background there, which
Yeah,
is great.
definitely.
Yeah, we're all still in that shock pattern, but
Yeah.
that's good.
Slowly coming out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Better people, I think, better society, so it's all good.
We're Albertans, we're resilient.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So this pretty much, I think, winds up why I like to promote Kristi and her knowledge and everything else as part of our group. And hopefully those that are listening to this can appreciate the difference and what goes into the behind the scenes, the mortgage aspect of it, which is great. So
Thank you very much.
yeah. So hopefully that answers some of the questions out there. And, we are real live people, so give us a shout. Or how do they do that on,
Give us a call.
I don't know. There's shows that do that, right? Give us a call.
Yeah.
But yeah, until next time, thanks for joining us.